the name changes, Rebel, the name changes should only have been to the extent that you had underscores. And, we're happy to work with you, but, it's for the purpose of us upgrading the database. We just can't have those. So it's, it's a necessary evil. I'll put it that way. I was going to say it is what it is, but as I was joking before the meeting, I'm not allowed to say that anymore because this guy took my line. Okay. So the first question, without wanting to get into a whole dialogue, Linda Atchie, it definitely takes too long. We all agree, and that's why we've got to move the network. We've got to clean up the database, and I'm going to talk about a few other things here. But it needs to be fast. It can be fast. It's just the platform is aged, and we're going to be getting over to a very fast system. I love the balloons there. Okay, so starting to get to user questions because I am going to want to have a discussion with all of you here and take live questions. But a number of people have asked, and Nefarious Needs asked first, when will there be upgrades to the sex scripts? Just a few more added would be great. So obviously, the sex scripts and sex animations are the most challenging thing for us to add in because they involve multiple players. By the way, if you've PM'd me while I'm doing this, I see them flashing. I'm going to need to look at those PMs at the conclusion, so I can't really get to you because I'm in a meeting. Obviously, sex scripts and anything that takes more than more than one person are complicated and challenging. But I can say that we have a huge upgrade that's being worked on to the sex system, and this is the sort of the main thing that we're working on that is not involved in the upgrades to the network and the streamlining of the network is this massive upgrade to the sex system. So what I'm expecting to accomplish with this upgrade are much better looking and responsive avatars, much more realistic motion, things that even Curio and even that couldn't do, we are going to be able to do in this new system. It should and will accommodate transgender avatars natively, which will radically improve what we've got going on in Red Light Center, and a number of other features that I'll keep under my hat right now. But we'll be discussing once I start to see them and see that they actually work the way that they're designed, and I'm not just talking up a big game and it turns out that some of this stuff doesn't work. But that's planned. I expect to start seeing some things beyond the sort of first generation stuff that I've seen here in the next couple of weeks. I hope that I'll be able to start sharing more details because we'll have more of a confirmation. But notwithstanding that, I'm working with the art department, which I'm expanding, and we have already expanded. I'm working with the art department to start working on some additional sex animations. So I know that we're pretty thin in some areas, and there's a lot of fun stuff that could be added. So I'd like to say that we'll start contributing again, SexNM fairly soon, next couple of months maybe, even if it's not part of the new major rollout. So let me see what y'all are talking about. Yeah, Sweet Pea, it would be nice if we could line up the bits properly. The new system, unquestionably. In fact, the new system, the lighting responsiveness is really spectacular. The shading. So it not only will things go where they're supposed to because the kinetic system that we're using, but they're going to be lit properly, so the back of your mouth isn't glowing, or you're not seeing your teeth and skull through interpenetration. So I suspect, Super Dave, that some of the issues you're talking about are, again, problems with database being at capacity, network being congested. And I'm really hoping here that shortly we're going to be able to fix that with just these upgrades to the network. So Abe Bull asks, says, I've been a member off and on for 14 years, and I'm concerned that this world might come to an end. Do you have plans shutting RLC down anytime in the near future? I have high hopes, but wanted to ask. So I get this question quite often, and I want to say emphatically, RLC is not shutting down. In fact, this whole network upgrade is has been designed with the idea of keeping RLC functioning forever, so that we don't have to do this again. You all probably recall that 7 or 8 years ago, we did the same thing. The network had become obsolete. We needed to upgrade it. It held development up for a very long time while everything had to be moved over. This time, we're doing things where we can infinitely add to storage, infinitely add to the database, so that it can just scale up as necessary, and we're keeping it organized, everything in the proper folders. It was really a problem that I had with my prior team in just sort of putting shit everywhere, including on their local computers, not in the SVN. So we're much more streamlined at this point with put stuff where it's supposed to go, and understand that we either want to retire old data that's not necessary anymore, put it in the right spot, or just be able to add to data. So this move of the network should be the last difficult one. We'll undoubtedly want to upgrade and move networks again 5-10 years in the future, but it won't cause the same type of distress and problems that it's causing now. And it's going to allow RLC to just continue to operate and continue to be upgraded forever. So, I wish I could export this thing to 64-bit. It would save me so much trouble. But no, we have not found any way at this point to be able to get it running 64-bit. And there are reasons for that. The sort of legacy foundation on which the software sits just is unsupported at 64-bit. I wish I had a better answer for that. The graphics engine upgrade, press Desmond. The new SEC system will be running on an upgraded graphics engine. The rest of RLC will continue to run on the current graphics engine. But I hope that we're going to be able to expand what runs on the new graphics engine. So You can understand the complexity just from me saying that, of having two different graphics engines here. It will become much more clear over time how we're managing to do that. And I hope that we can extend that to other aspects. In fact, I don't see any reason why we shouldn't be able to. But for the immediate rollout, it's just going to be the upgraded state of the art. I mean, it's really unlike anything that I don't want to overhype it. It's not like anything I've seen before. Honestly, like if I cover up the hair, I fucking can't tell that it's not video. And I just said I wouldn't overhype it. Don't expect the hair to be great. Hair is trouble. Some hair looks great. Some hair doesn't look as great. But everything else, it's like just mind-boggling how fantastic this graphics engine is. So, oh God, whenever I freeze, I was complaining about this when we were doing setup for this meeting, and I kept freezing. It always looks like such a weird position. I was complaining about this when we were doing setup. I don't envy you having to look at me frozen. So let's see. Okay. Okay, I'm not sure what's a bummer. Oh, the 64-bit. Yeah, it is a bummer. Believe me, I have been examining that one from every angle, and we just have been unable to do it. It would solve so many problems. Yeah, questions like what to expect in the near future, please go ahead and hit Kendrick up so I can talk about various stuff when I'm done. He knows the questions that I'm going through. So yeah, we're really taking our time to make sure that this is done solidly. There's no more shortcuts. There's no more cutting corners. This network move and network upgrade is 100% solid. I hear about the AMD card problems. Yeah, it's just one of those problems that is essentially outside of our control. If we could find a solution to it, I would be all over it. But we're just limited without. Again, I wish that Curio had gone the way that I wanted it to, because it was specifically the reason we did it was because there were problems like this that we can't solve because of what we're built on, the core foundation of the software. And so, unfortunately, there are some things for which there are not solutions other than to start over, and we're not going back to Curio. Although I say that, we have some interest in Curio, and I have a third party that's going to be developing on it. So that can be interesting. But from our standpoint, my team, the whole organization is completely dedicated now to the current Otherverse software system and getting that to be running as great as we can get it to be running. So going on to the next question here from Randy. Randy, are you able to hear me now? You are, right? Okay, great. So I think this is you regarding the property catalog reconstruction. And this is the same type of question we got from many people. The property catalog, the clothing catalog, even some of the stuff in the profile system, with the various folder issues. I think all of these things are kind of a mess. And yeah, exactly, they are a mess. So we're taking these things sort of one step at a time. It doesn't make sense for us to redesign these systems, the property catalog, the clothing catalog as my big examples. It doesn't make sense for us to redesign these systems while the database is still in disarray. Although the database is getting closer and closer to being streamlined and upgraded. But once that project is complete, Then we're going to be able to move with much more nimbly to fixing and modernizing these catalog systems. And we can do that in a bunch of different ways. I'm excited even by the prospect, although I probably shouldn't say it, but excited by the prospect of being able to get some of this into an app so that you can even do some of the stuff on the phone. But really, let's say, core problems of being able to search, being able to organize, being able to properly add, delete, favorite, and basically just have it intuitive and organized. Those types of issues can be done so much more quickly and effectively when we have the database problem solved. So they're absolutely high on my priority list, high on our priority list, I should say. And I recognize that there are enormous deficiencies. They will be addressed, and when they're addressed, we'll go through an iterative process so I can get your feedback. Obviously, I'll use them, staff will use them, volunteers will use them, we'll get everybody's feedback and continue to improve. And we'll be able to make sort of rapid improvements, changes, feature rollouts in a way that we can't do now, which would be so cumbersome. So hopefully we're going to be able to address all of these problems. Neato, well, shit, thank you. Is it the giant lapels? No. I tried to match my avatar, but I don't have a black tie. Let's see. Okay, so I'm sure that Ken is taking down, this discussion in terms of what it is that I am going to need to bring back up. But oh, geez, SITV, that's great. Problems with thieving in the top 20 list. And as a follow-on, the clothing system having problems, difficult to search, and just generally not working. So, of course, I had a meeting a few months ago already with the designers, and I did get a lot of feedback, and we came up with plans and policies for the top 20 list. Now, one of the things that I was talking to my team about in conjunction with this town hall was, where we stand with implementing some of these. The top 20, it comes back to the same root problem, which is we'll be able to do a lot more dynamic stuff when we have a database that is working the way that it's supposed to. In the meantime, if that if it's going to take too long, some of the ideas that I floated are just removing the top 20 list entirely. That doesn't stop the thief problem, but it does stop the gaming of the top 20 list issue. And maybe replacing the top 20 with manually having people on staff and from the community putting outfits into the top 20 on a manual basis. Renaming it obviously wouldn't be top 20, it would be sort of otherverse picks or community picks, and doing something manual. So we're discussing that. We're discussing the feasibility of doing that. But as far as dealing with the whole comprehensive problems that we had and have with protecting the intellectual property of designers, those plans that we all discussed in the designer meeting, those are still in process. And again, they're backed up behind all of this network move and operations improvements, but that's where it stands. And again, the same thing, boy, the clothing system, I mean, I would really love to get the clothing system completely redone, because we could do it so much better now. But that's really got to wait for these projects. I hope I'm not going to keep saying that. Okay, and while I'm on that same subject, from Lady Dark, we have a question that a lot of you have been asking about Other Bucket. Been under extended maintenance for 3 weeks or so, and obviously, people are needing to use it. So we did have to turn off Other Bucket because the storage that we allocated to Other Bucket is literally at capacity. We really can't turn it back on without exceeding our storage capacity. That is a high priority for us to fix. And let me switch to a note that I got on this from my tech team. Other Bucket's currently not accepting new uploads to prevent storage issues. We're currently exploring and testing options for a new storage system. Ideally, the plan will be to use S3 blob storage buckets for all of these assets, which should decrease user load times, provide infinitely expandable storage, and allow for multiple redundant copies to be stored in the cloud. While implementing this, we're also looking at other options to better secure user-generated data and prevent theft, which will require a complete overhaul of the clothing and texture systems, as well as how RLC is currently connected to its back-end storage. It's a pretty massive project, so it'll be done in stages. And the very first stage is to get Other Bucket back online. There is, unfortunately, I'm told, no ETA as of yet. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be a very long time, but it means that I can't tell you how quickly we're going to have it back. So obviously this is a pretty huge issue. And again, just from doing the town hall, I do want to apologize for not getting the word out that we were doing this. Because really that should have been something that I was messaging to all of you in advance of us turning it off, although I know that we sort of came up against critical issues very rapidly. And so anyway, for that, I apologize, and I'll try to be more communicative about how quickly we can get that back up and running. Okay, so having discussions about Flash, it's appropriate that I read the very next note here. As many of you know, Flash support will soon be gone from all major web browsers. We're currently working to convert all of our older Flash assets into HTML5. I expect to see some of the changes very shortly. And of course, we're trying to bring up Chromium so that we can use HTML5 in World. Yeah. Okay, so repair, I'm aware of that issue too, although I didn't know that that was still ongoing, so I'm glad that you bring it up. I know that the repair issue was caused by a peering problem with a European bandwidth provider. That's why your VPN is working to repair, but you won't be able to connect to it naturally because there's a peering problem between our data center and specific bandwidth providers in Europe. So I am going to need to make a note to discuss that with my team because I didn't get an update on that. I thought that that issue was resolved last I heard, but obviously it's not if you're still having to VPN. So repair, obviously it's not if you're still having to VPN in Europe. Okay, hopefully you can get the word out, maybe we can get the word out that you can use a VPN to repair so that you can connect, but yeah, it's not all of Europe. It's certain bandwidth providers in Europe are having this peering problem. And it's, you know, just an issue between major bandwidth providers. Right. Okay. We're trying to get that problem solved, I'm told. Okay. So let me get back here. There's so much good stuff in the chat, but let me get back to this document here. Streaming video, let's see. So Sunrider says, Brian, you said streaming video in World was something you're going to include in improvements in the client platform. Can you tell us what progress has been made so far? So I have two answers on streaming video. One, of course, I've said now, which is we're working on compiling with Chromium. Once we get that fixed, streaming video should be fixed into the client. So you'll be able to stream by attaching prop. You know, you can stream with an attached web browser on a prop. The system that I am currently using, this is going to be available in conjunction with the other Academy relaunch. We're going to be enabling our own system that will stream audio and video, not only how I'm doing it with one person, but even groups of people at the same time, all being able to stream into client live. So I'm expecting that that's going to generate at a bare minimum some workarounds for streaming, but it's also going to open up a whole lot of exciting additional areas of development and you know, feature adds that all of you can include and that all of you are going to be able to experience. And that's going to happen over the course of the next few weeks. Obviously, we're able to get it in the current state, but you know, there's some issues like there's some issues in the way that people have to join, and we're going to resolve that by getting this onto our own servers, and that's going to streamline that quite a bit. So I'm really excited because I love this ability to go live and to be able to hold a town hall like this. But on top of that, to be able to release this as a feature with additional features on top of it, I think is going to be great. Let's see. I am asked by Sunrider also if I would consider publishing weekly updates regarding upgrades, patches, and progress in the forum. So we have been posting periodically about the hotfix updates and update notes when we get them, but we haven't been really making progress on a weekly basis yet because a lot of the projects are really these sort of big lumbering projects that you don't see much until they're done, and then all of a sudden things are fast, things aren't crashing, and there's changes. And then we're able to sprint to adding some features and cleaning some stuff up. So I'd love to start posting weekly updates. I don't think it's practical at this point, but I'll continue to post about major upgrades and milestones that we're hitting. And then when it becomes prudent, obviously, which I can't wait for, where we actually have progress to report every week, we'll certainly start to increase the amount, the number of posts that we're doing. Let's see. CM Knisa, I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name, asks about adding in more affectionate positions, carrying, holding from the back. This is also a question which I passed along to my art department regarding, obviously it's a new type of interaction, and I'm not sure that we're going to be tinkering the client to add those new types of interaction because it's really not a sex invite, although it would leverage the sex system. But they're great suggestions, and they aren't going to be rocket science to add. So they're definitely going to be on the plate because I do love some of those ideas. Yeah, well, the language-free region, I think, we did see the main benefit was it appears on its face to be less discriminatory and sort of more inclusive. And I think that was a benefit, and there really weren't a whole lot of drawbacks to it. I agree. New dances, walking hand in hand. I mean, the walking hand in hand was something that I was working on for a few months. Really, it just never was able to connect. That developer is no longer with us, and so when we get another developer to be able to do that, facepalm, all these things, we'll be able to start adding those in. Sleep in bed, sure, I love it. Okay. Let's see. Bringing back, Casey asks if we'll be bringing back the licensed deco program and allow licensed decorators to remake, redo some of the antiquated landmarks and properties. You definitely got the attention of some people on my staff with that because we've been very much in favor of doing that. So I think that's on the very short list to be bringing back the licensed decorator program and starting to give projects out to those fine folk. Okay, so it's like you guys are reading my other screen because the next question is from DJ Brianna regarding the plan for Oasis going forward. So the plan for Oasis, just very succinctly, I have dropped development on it to refocus everybody on the current platform. But we have been working with a company that is very interested in continuing to develop on that system. And so they're going to be given some leeway to be able to do that. That may mean, depending on how they feel once they've gotten really into it and what kind of resources they put on it, that may mean that we're continuing to keep Oasis alive. We're just not developing on it. So, it's a fine place to go, hang out, do your thing. There may be upgrades coming down the pipeline that will be coming from this third-party company that's going to be working on it. And they seem they are very excited. And an enthusiastic group. So we'll see what that has in store. But our focus as far as new engine and upgrades that rely on state-of-the-art engines, we're doing that so that it's compatible with our existing system, and you're going to be able to see them by coming in here. Okay, so yeah, next question. Charity FOHR asks about Other Academy, and so I dealt with that a little bit ago. But Other Academy is preparing for a relaunch, and I'm very excited about that. And with this new streaming audio and video tool, I think it's going to be a big success. On top of that, some other features that we've got being built for Other Academy. I'm pretty excited about it. Now we are coming to the end of the questions here. Ken, if you want to. I can do questions and answers for a few minutes. I'll take a look at the chat, but I got to take a quick bathroom break, so I'm going to turn off the camera and let you compile that. Talk amongst yourselves, and I'll be back in a couple minutes. Alrighty, so let's see what's come on board here. Well, of course, starting with Monic, we could get rid of the transport, but it's so iconic. I kind of, I don't know, I'm kind of married to it. Yeah, my mic was on, did you? But come on, I was all the way on the other side of the, yeah, I didn't mute the mic. Okay, so, by popular demand, we're gonna focus on my little girl here. This is Icy. Aww. She's been hanging out listening the entire time. Was saying that my little boy Sven, it's gotten too warm for him to hang out here. He's a little bit bigger and furrier, so he hangs out in my bedroom these days, although he might make a visit. Let's see. Okay, so I'm told that I have an email with some user questions. Let's see where we are. Ken, did you? Okay, well, I haven't gotten an email yet, so you know, I am enthusiastic about what we've got on the plate. It's a lot of hard work, and geez, you know, it's always so tough to be waiting, sort of bottlenecked behind upgrades. But I know that we're doing. The necessary work to underpin the future development. And I'm really excited about the prospect of being able to be responsive to everything that you guys are asking for, particularly some of these issues that have been going on for a very long time. Well, let's see. There are 105 people in here, so I imagine that the lag would be a little bit rough. I presume that's in your VWW? Okay. Well, that's a question that, you know, we can start to, I haven't given any thought to it. I'll need to revisit that and see. I know that what we wanted to do was basically give you half and retain half so that we can point to interesting properties sort of as a you know, our advertising take on it. But you know, it's always good to revisit these decisions, especially years after they've been made. So I'll look into it and get back to you on it. Angel Jess. So will we be able to come here, or will it just be Oasis? And if so, will all we have here from properties and clothes, will we still have them? So yeah, as I've discussed here, Oasis is still going to continue, but RLC is the primary property. It's where we're making all the investment. It's where we're making all of the improvement. It's going to stay, you know, forever. And I'm hoping that, you know, we're going to have a lot of reason for people not only to stick around, but to come back, and new people to come in. So those are the questions that I have over there. Yeah. So just looking over some of the chat, of course. The boots and glitches, that's, you know, that's really all consequent, or mostly consequent to the problems that we're having with the network. And upgrading the network is going to fix a lot of that stuff. But, you know, 6 years, it has definitely gotten worse over the last couple of years. But prior to 6 years, the glitches and boots were much worse. You'd be shocked at how much we improved them, and it's only in the last few years that it's begun to deteriorate again. Yeah, built-in translator. I mean, I love the idea too. There's so many things that we will be able to look at doing. Once we've made these improvements. Okay, so I'm not looking at the screen anymore. I'm actually looking out at the crowd. What an amazing turnout! Gosh, thanks everybody for the questions. Thanks everyone for the interest, for hanging out and listening to me for what, like almost an hour and a half. I got a million PMs I'm going to start sorting through, but I hope I addressed a lot of your questions and issues. Obviously, you know, I intend to follow through with all of this, and my team and I are working really, really hard. So I hope that you can start to see some real, you know, I mean, as I said at the outset, we've done some things already, and I'm sure all of you have noticed some of the improvements, but I'm hopeful that you're going to start to see some really substantial ones over the course of the next few months. Yeah, I think I'm going to turn off my video and audio. I guess my little boy didn't come out, so you're going to have to see him another time. And I'll stay in chat for a bit. So yeah, thanks everybody. And like I say, really do appreciate all of your loyalty and dedication and just interest in finding out what's going on. I'll see you in chat.